Well, hello. I thought I'd start a new playlist for beginning guitar players on how to play the guitar. So if you know nothing about the guitar, you can start here with this. And that was kind of what I was thinking. I've been working with my son-in-law lately, showing him some chords and teaching him. And I thought, I should do that. I talked about that on a guitar talk video, and I got responses saying that'd be really neat if you do that. So I'm going to do some beginning guitar lessons. And if you hear some sounds, it's because I have my tuner opened up back here on my iPad so that we can see it clearly when I get ready to tune. So it'll beep every once in a while like that. Don't worry about it. We're going to get to that. So this lesson is going to deal with the basics about the guitar structure and the strings, and we'll look at how to tune it. We're going to be using an app. There are clip-on tuners that can be used. They're not very expensive. The other day I got 5 for $20. And if you live in the area and you see me on a regular basis, you can always say, hey, can I have one of those? And if I still have any left, you can. And then there are some that are on board, like this D'Angelico. I use that tuner a lot on this particular instrument because I like their onboard tuner. And so you get an idea of it. But I think this app, I use Guitar Tuna. There are parts of it that are free to most people. If you want the advanced version, you're paying a monthly fee nowadays. I got grandfathered in. I bought the whole thing for $22 when they first got started, and they still honor it for me, which I'm grateful because it's gotten more expensive. But it's a really good tuning system, and I appreciate that about them. There are a lot of apps on your phone for tuning your guitar if you want to do that. I can't remember the name of it. I just recently put one on my son-in-law's phone that he uses to tune with, and it was great. It was good also. And so you can do that. They function as an audio tuner. A lot of the other tuners clip on the headstock, much like my capo is. I don't have one on this guitar because that's an onboard tuner. And they use vibrations, and they work very well too. Like I said, they're just not that expensive these days, anywhere from $5 to $15, I suppose. You can get a tuner, and they all work fine. I know some people think others are better than this one and that one. And D'Addario makes a micro tuner that clips on your guitar. I've liked those because they're so small. And I'll try to, in the next lesson, have one out and show you an example of the D'Addario micro tuner. They're very nice, and I have one. It's on a different capo. Well, let me pause for a minute. I just took this off of my banjo, and my 6-string banjo. This little thing on the end of the capo is a D'Addario micro tuner, and it has this capo comes from D'Addario also. It has a little bracket to put the tuner right on the capo. It's kind of handy and nice, and you just turn it on and it comes on. It's much harder to see, and it picks up the vibrations, and it works essentially like the tuner we're going to be using today. So any of that kind of stuff will work. So let's talk about the guitar. And I'm focusing on an acoustic guitar. The truth be told, I own this as an acoustic electric, and I don't own any electric guitars anymore. I've managed to sell them all. Not because I don't like them. Electric guitars are great. I'm just thinning down and trying to have fewer instruments. And this particular instrument has a very nice neck. It feels like an electric guitar in your left hand, so all that. So what you have on an acoustic guitar, this fat part is called the lower bout, and the smaller part is the upper bout. This is called a flat top guitar because the top's flat. It doesn't arch. Some of the jazz guitars arch. I recently did a video on a 1957 Harmony that I restored, and there was that arch to the top. So your standard acoustic guitar is usually a flat top of this nature. This shape's called a grand auditorium. There are various shapes you can get, and they're all fine. If you're thinking, what guitar should I get? Entry-level guitars are absolutely fine to buy. This is a D'Angelico Gramercy Premier, and they have another one. This one I think you can get on Amazon, right just under $400. I got this one was broken. I got it for $129, and I fixed it. So that's a different thing. But I have a 12-string that I got, which is the Premier LS, and it's just a trim level lower, and I would recommend that. If you're looking for a guitar, you could get a D'Angelico. The headstock looks like that, and they have a Gramercy. That's what this is. They also have a Tammany that doesn't have the cutaway. Either one of those are great. The cutaway I like because it gives me access up here, and I play up here. If you don't think you will, don't get one like that. Just get the regular standard guitar. You can look at them. They cost $249. I bought, it looks like this, my 12-string. I don't want to confuse you by talking about 12 strings, but I got that $249. It's called a Fulton when it's a 12-string Premier LS. So the LS makes them cheaper, and it was $249, brand new, came from Sweetwater, and they have an excellent reputation as a company for selling all things music related, from sound to instruments, etc. Really, $249, if you're willing to spend that is really cheap to get a quality guitar. And these D'Angelicos are very nice guitars and play very well right out of the box. That said, there are a lot of guitars on Amazon. Some of them $100 you can get that will play just fine. And there are all kinds of reviews on YouTube about cheap Amazon guitars that work. So you can look at that if you like. Nowadays, everything's so mechanized, they work fine. So this is the body, this is the top, sides, back. Lower bout, upper bout. This is the neck, this is the fretboard, this is the headstock. This little piece here is called the nut, where the strings go. This piece is called the bridge. The brown part is the bridge. The piece in here is called a saddle. These are bridge pins. That could help you. And these are, of course, tuning machines on the side for tuning your guitar. When you talk about strings, particularly pitch is what I'm interested in. I use a light gauge Elixir acoustic string. That's what I happen to like. Strings work fine. Any strings you get. Some of you might want a nylon string guitar. Those are easier to play and push down in the early days, but they have a wider neck. And so generally I would just recommend any beginning guitar will work fine. What will happen is you're playing, you will develop calluses on your fingertips. I have some serious calluses on my fingertips. Before you develop calluses, you will develop bruises. So not bad, but you'll have that experience if you practice a lot. It'll hurt your fingers at first, but that will go away, and it doesn't take long. And if you play every day, you'll never have pain with your fingertips. So when we talk about going up or down on the guitar, this will be important to our music lessons. When we talk about up or down on the guitar, we're talking about pitch, not location. geographically speaking. So this is the lowest string. So if you're going to this string, you're going down, and everything going this way is going up. Seems backwards because you're thinking of up is up and down is down, but we're talking about pitch. So this is the higher string, this is the lower string. And so this is going this direction on a guitar because you get to higher strings going this way, you're going up. And going up the neck is going this direction, not that direction, because you're going up in pitch. And so this is up the neck, this is down the neck. Those are important things when, in terms of understanding instructions that we're giving. When we number the strings, it starts with the highest string first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's how that works. So with the frets, it's this location. This is fret number 1. These brass things are called frets. Fret 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. This hits a 12th fret here and joins the guitar at a 14. Some guitars vary from that a little bit. Our next thing I want to talk about is how to tune a guitar. But just before I get there, when we talk about gear and instruments and things like that, there will always be guitar players out there that if you ask their advice, they're going to spend way too much money trying to get you to get the perfect instrument. And I don't recommend that. There are people that they're so gear oriented, they believe that spending more money makes them a better guitar player. And the truth is practicing more makes you a better guitar player. Get something that's good and works. As you develop as a guitarist, if you want something fancier or you're interested in a big name brand, that's up to you. You can do that. But when you're first learning, don't just spend enough to get something good. That's why I say, you know, a guitar like this comes with free shipping from Amazon. You know, was for me $249 for the LS. So just one trim level lower than this. Very nice guitar. That works fine. So there are a lot of those kind of guitars and they're ready to play. So don't go crazy. And same thing, later we'll talk about capo usage and tuner usage. They all work. So you don't have to spend a lot of money. You need some kind of tuner, you can use a free app. You don't need a capo right away because we'll develop that later. So that's what we're talking about. Let's talk about tuning. And I lost my tuner. So I've moved you up closer. Apologies for that. Let me see if I can scooch back here behind the tuner a little bit. And we're going to tune according to this app, and it shows the strings and names them, as you can see. Like I said, different tuners will do it differently. The clip-ons are often chromatic, but the goal is to get it in the middle in the green. And the key to tuning well is gradual, slow movements, giving everything time to respond. Some people are twisting their keys aggressively when they tune, and it's really not the right way. And I've seen experienced guitar players, and they're just doing this kind of stuff with a tuner. Now I know it's got to be out, and they're not really working on it. So I've got that string. This is my low E. This is number 6. We'll start with that, and you can see the circle moves. Well, look at that. I twisted it back and forth, and I twisted it back to the right spot. Let's mess it up. So it's too low there. You can see that, and it suggests you moving it forward. So we're going to do that, and I'm trying to look at it in the screen of my phone here. which isn't working. So when you get it on that line and you hear that beep sound, of course your phone would have to be on audio. And this is the same app I use on my iPhone. Just so happens I'm using the iPhone for the camera right now. You're in tune. So you go to the next string, and I have it set on auto for that. You have to know the names of the strings to tune, and your clip-on tuners and whatnot will show you the name of the string, but not always give you a diagram. So what we have here, E, A, D, G, B, E. So those are our strings, E, A, D, G, B, E, going from lowest to highest. And so that it's good to know that as you're later when you're trying to tune. So we've tuned that, and I worked gradually. So now we're going to do the A. I'm going to mess it up. So I'm going to turn it backwards, and it's the same, you know, you kind of tuning it forward, and I'm sure others can show you how to do that. So now I'm too low, and I'm gradually turning this machine. There. See how I gradually did it? I wasn't aggressive. And we'll just check my guitar real quick. And it's in tune. So that's how you would use a tuner. There. And in that process. So now I'm going to reconfigure the camera setup, and we'll work on a couple more, or we'll work on a chord lesson and just a basic strum with our thumb. Okay. So, and this will be the only lesson that I talk about the structure of the guitar, the strings, the pieces, the nut, the saddle, things like that, which all could be looked up online, but I'm talking about them in lesson number 1 for beginning guitar. In the future, we're just going to be focusing on learning some chords and learning to put them together. And so I'm getting ready to teach you one chord. That's it for this video, one chord. In the next video, we'll learn another chord. And here's my goal. In this video, I'll teach you a chord. In the next video, I'll teach you another chord. And we'll just kind of work on changing between those. And the video after that, we'll do a song that only requires 2 chords. And once we've accomplished that, we'll work on another chord. And so for practical purposes that will make more sense in the future, we're gonna work on songs in the key of G, or chords in the key of G. And a lot of for instance, a lot of people that know me know I know a lot of old-time hymns and old-timey gospel songs. And most of those songs can be played with 2 or 3 chords. Some might require 4, you know, they're pretty easy. And I do throw in others, but honestly, a chord is harmony, so it's negotiable. But, and my wife has a book herself called a 3-chord hymnal. You could always get one of those. It's a good way to do it. A lot of the old time choruses and also a lot of folk music. And we might do a couple folk songs, because I know a few of those, and they're really just, you know, 2 and 3 chords, and we'll learn to do some easy songs. And so I'll next week or next video, I hope it's next week, it depends on my schedule, but I will actually blow up a chord diagram. And not only will I teach you another chord, but I'll teach you how to read chord diagrams so you can learn chords on your own. But today we're going to learn the G chord, and just strum with your thumb. You don't have to do anything fancy. I'm not using my fingers yet. I'm just using my thumb. Just strumming a beat, and and just work on that. The reason being, and later, you know, you can use your finger, whatever, but wherever your thumb goes, your fingers will often go. And so, you know, later on when we're getting more accomplished, I'll talk about the different ways to pluck your guitar on this side using this hand. There's the flat pick, there are finger picks, there are no picks, things like that. I am able to use a flat pick, but most of the time I'm using finger picks. I don't generally teach my style of finger picking because it's such a hodgepodge of different styles put together. But we'll talk about that later. For now, this is the chord we're going to learn. And I just cheated. I used my index finger. I'm going to try not to do that to you. Just use your thumb. This is supposed to be easy. And we're just getting started. And some of you may play other instruments and already know how to strum. I have good news for you. I know at least one of you, because I know you, is a ukulele player. And so the good news is the chords you use on the ukulele match these 4 higher strings right here, the first 1 through 4. The difference is, like, your G chord on a ukulele is this, it becomes a D chord on a guitar. But you already know some of the fingering, so that's good news. All you're going to have to do is add 2 more strings. And so let's talk about the G chord and how to make it. I'm going to give you one little warning. Sometimes you'll see me, if I'm not following, just I have to talk, I have to play and multitask, and we all know I'm not that smart. But I don't always make a G chord with my hand like this. I often make it like that. And I don't recommend a beginner do that. I started doing that for one reason originally, because it's easier for me to go to a C and E minor and do different things here, or even a G7, blah, 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 blah. The real truth is I have this bent thumb, and you can see it's just an oddball thing. And it's difficult for me to make a G chord like that. Well, I can do it on this guitar. If I have a much wider neck, or like my 12 string or my banjo, I can't do this with my hand because of that weird thumb. So I apologize if you see me out of instinct making it the wrong way. Now, this is what I taught my son-in-law very recently, and I've done this with my wife too. Just memorize this chord. Get where you can find it. And we're going to talk about how that looks. And then I'll start putting some diagrams together. And the next video we'll talk about chord diagrams and learn the D chord. The reason I want to learn a G chord and a D chord, because then we'll be able to do a song maybe by the 3rd video. So that would be neat. And so you start with your index finger, and it goes, these frets, 1, 2. So it goes to the 2nd fret, and your fingers go in between or behind the fret that's numbered. So when I say the 2nd fret, and we're going to talk about the 5th string 2nd fret and your 1st finger, I want it to go behind the 2nd fret. So there's the fret. I want your finger to go behind it. And that's your 1st finger, 5th string, 2nd fret. And that's the note. That's the first part of the chord. Then you take your number 2 finger, right? Your middle finger is we're counting, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 fingers. That's what we're using. And you want to put your number 2 finger on the 6th string, 3rd fret. And once again, it's behind the fret, so you can see that. That's 1, that's 2, and then I'm taking this 3rd finger and I'm putting it on the 1st string, 3rd fret. And I do all that together. Those are the 3 notes, then we have some open notes. Okay, that's your G chord. Now, it probably looks like I'm doing it real easily because I started when I was about 11 years old. And so, yeah. And if you're a raw beginner, getting your fingers to listen to you is going to be difficult. Don't get discouraged. You'll get it. You can do this. It's not that hard. And so just use your thumb for now and strum down. And get the feel of that. And your goal is to get all the notes clear. So if you pluck this, I'll start over. You want every note to be clear. If you don't press hard enough, you're going to get one of those, right? If your finger touches two strings, if it's folding over and touching a string, you hear that? My finger shouldn't be touching that string. It should be open. So, part of it is arch your fingers and get your wrist under the guitar more if you're having trouble getting clear notes. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you, the goal is really to have your thumb behind the guitar neck. A lot of guitar players don't play like that. They wrap around the guitar. And, if you want to be a guitar player that does that, it's fine. A lot of people do. But really, your thumb should be behind because it allows your wrist to move and you get a better arch on your fingers for more clear notes. You'll see me doing one of these. The reason is I know it was bad, but it's deformed thumb. And it wasn't always like that. It used to be a double jointed thumb and it got stuck over the years. And so sometimes I'm cheating by letting this knuckle that I have on the front of my thumb press against the guitar like I would a finger. I have a callus there. So I don't recommend you do that and bend your thumb backwards because it might get stuck like that. But I'm not complaining. I'm just explaining if you see me do something that I'm telling you not to do, it's because of the shape of my hand. Put your thumb here and then make your chord. And you'll have more power to push the notes down, and you'll have more room to arch your fingers. And because if you're up here, I can do it, but it changes your fingers. So learn to do that. Most beginners are pressing on the strings harder than they need to. Maybe I'd say intermediate guitar players press on the strings harder than they need to. Beginners get a lot of fret buzz and stuff because they haven't developed the finger strength. It'll all happen, and it'll happen a lot more quickly than you think. So just work on that. Just work on making that G chord, and you'll do better. And what I recommend to everybody is practice 15 minutes a day. Now, most people end up practicing longer than that, especially as we learn more. And if you get where you can strum along and sing a song, you're going to play more than 15 minutes a day, and you'll enjoy that. It'll be fun, not just practice. But if you only practice 15 minutes a day, you will see improvement happen steadily throughout your guitar playing. And that's what you want. And by making it 50 minutes, it's achievable, but it should be happening every day. And a lot of guitar players play once a week or twice a week, and that's why they don't really improve a lot, because they're not playing daily. And so myself, I usually travel with some kind of instrument. I have a travel size ukulele that I use to play guitar. And if I'm going on an airplane, if we're driving, I take a regular guitar. But I always take something, because if I skip a day, I don't play as well the next day. And I've noticed that. So imagine if you skip a week. So 15 minutes a day. So we're going to go over that chord one more time, and that's it for the video today. First finger, 2nd fret, 5th string, which is your A string. It becomes a B note, but that's irrelevant, sorry. 2nd finger, which is your middle, 3rd fret, 6th string, and your 3rd finger 3rd fret, 1st string. And you put that on and you practice that chord. Then in the next video, we'll learn the D chord. And when you get where you can change back and forth, we'll do a little song. So I hope you enjoy that process, and a lot of the other videos I hope might be a little shorter than this because I don't want to waste anyone's time, but this was introductory. So the Lord bless you and keep you, and may His light shine on you, and I pray that you become a guitar player.